Thank you, and I feel like I have been the one speaking for a while, so I'm going to refer to Dr. Burgess for some questions, and then I do have some subsequent questions as well.
Great, thank you. And Dr. Thomas, as a part of the country that was the recipient of the West Nile, certainly appreciate your efforts. But Dr. Friedland, we talked, Mr. Thomas has outlined a relatively straightforward strategy, a month of vaccine development, but your company's development of the Ebola vaccine has been more lengthy, has it not?
Well, thank you, Congressman. In the case of Ebola, we're dealing with a fast-moving and rapidly evolving situation, and GSK's response has been, reflects the fast-moving, rapid pace that we're dealing with. There's just tremendous, great unmet need and high expectations from the global health community with regarding Ebola. And when we look at this, it's both innovative and challenging for GSK. We are executing a parallel development program along with parallel manufacturing and also parallel unknown regulatory pathways as well. And we're doing this in partnership, public-private partnership with a wide consortium of partners, the NIH, and thank you, Dr. Heilman, with partners in the United Kingdom, with the World Health Organization, and fortunately, we've started clinical trials. Clinical trials started here in the United States on September 2nd, started in the United Kingdom on the 17th of September. Studies are about underway to start in Switzerland, and by the end of the year, we'll have one, if not two studies starting in West Africa. Then we're also planning for our phase 2 program, leading towards hopefully registration, and that will start in 2015. But more importantly, we expect initial data to become available by the end of the year, at which time GSK, working with our partners in the WHO, can look to make informed decisions on how the initial response can be instituted for possibly high-risk individuals. But then we need to look for a process for registration, and along with that, we need to have scaled-up manufacturing to get a vaccine available for the public for potential stockpiling purposes. And this can only be done with continued public-private partnerships and funding. And that's going to be absolutely critical to make sure that this vaccine can be available should the data support that. So it's been challenging and innovative and fast-moving, and it's a fantastic example, though, of the power, as I said earlier, of how the public and private can work together to look to solve problems, advance science faster than we possibly would do under normal circumstances.
And I agree with you. It is faster than under normal circumstances, but isn't there a case to be made for it to be even faster than what you outlined? As we go through the phase 1 trials, there is, the need exists, and I recognize the difficulty with trying to do a randomized clinical trial while there's an epidemic raging half the world away. But at the same time, that's the reality with which we are faced. So is there any possibility that there might be an expectation of moving even more rapidly than what you have outlined?
The situation is fast-moving, rapidly evolving, and GSK's response, working with our partners, absolutely reflects this, appropriately so. This is being done in partnership. There are ethical issues as well to be discussed, regulatory issues as well. And all partners are working round the clock on this incredibly important situation, but it needs to be done in a way that data can be generated so that informed decisions can be made, so that patient safety is protected. And so we have to respect the scientific process, but also look for innovative, new ways of working, and that's exactly what is happening here. And let's just hope that the data that becomes available can allow the scientific community to make an informed decision that can begin to address this really important scientific and public health issue.
Let me just ask you a question on the concept of, you talked about the scalability and the stockpiling of vaccine, no pun intended, but there's kind of a chicken and egg phenomenon here. You've got to know that there's a market for it before you scale up, and at the same time you're still in the process of deciding whether this is something useful that you can provide to people. So when when your marketplace is as yet undefined, does that make the scalability of your product more difficult?
I think that's a good way to begin some discussion. Perhaps other panelists might want to speak to this as well.